Good morning, gang. Monday, back to the grind. Here we go again. So I guess one thing I can say is welcome back to spring. All the snow is gone, and we're supposed to be up in the 60s today. So yeah, that quick hit of winter is over. But all right, so there's a lot of uh, updates, if you will, coming out of Eastern Europe overnight that we need to pay attention to. Couple of things. First off, the peace talks, if you will, seem to be doing something. Okay. And again, you got to understand a lot of this is propaganda, double talk, jawboning, whatever. And I kind of want to explain and separate the wheat from the chaff on this one. Now, apparently, Turkey is the one that's taking the lead in trying to set up a meeting between there we go, Putin and Zelensky, because Turkey's got good relationships with both Kiev and with Moscow. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, the issue is Russia has come out and basically said the only way this is ending, in their opinion, is if Ukraine gives up any claim to Crimea, obviously just lets it be Russia, and recognizes Lugansk and Donetsk as independent nations. Now, there's a little problem with that because, that's the same as, I don't know, the U.S. says, hey, we're going to go into across the Ambassador Bridge up into Windsor, and until you declare Windsor a part of the United States, we're going to continue killing people. Okay, a little problem there. Now, where the most interesting part is how other nations are starting to get involved, and this is what gets a little worrisome. And like I said, this is also what could be jawboning, and this also could be true. All right, now the Financial Times put out a report yesterday. Financial Times out of Great Britain put a report out yesterday that Russia was seeking China's military help for not only equipment but also for troops. Right? They quoted anonymous White House sources. Again, I always love anonymous sources because nobody has to, there's no way to back it up. Okay. But this is what's making the news. Of course, China's response was, we've never heard of that. Now, China's not going to say, oh, you caught us. So we all know that there's a closer relationship between China and Russia. There's been pictures of Chinese troops in Eastern Europe. So there's a little bit of credibility to this that some of this may have already happened. Now, we all know Russia is running low on ammunition. They've certainly lost more tanks, artillery, anything than they ever expected. So, they could be running short, hence the reason for asking for reinforcements. Just something to pay attention to. The most interesting one is what came out of Latvia overnight. Now, I want to qualify this real quick because there's this big lack of geographical knowledge amongst people in the West. And I keep hearing, not from you guys, but on other sites to say, Russia doesn't want NATO on its border, yada, yada, yada. That's why they went into Ukraine. Okay. Go look at a map. Estonia and Latvia both are NATO members. Both are bordering the main country of Russia. Lithuania borders Belarus, but there's also that little sliver of Russia that is over on the Baltic Sea that they border too. So Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, the Baltic countries, all have a physical border with Russia and our NATO members. So all this bullshit that everybody keeps telling you that Russia doesn't want a NATO member on their border, too late. They already got them, okay? Now, Latvia came out overnight and asked for a permanent U.S. troop deployment in Latvia. So U.S. troops on the Russian border permanently. They're asking the U.S. to build a base there, okay? Now, if you think the whole lie on why they went into Ukraine means, if you believe what they've said, what does this do? Okay, this is now putting U.S. troops on the border, or at a minimum NATO troops, let's say, but Latvia is asking for U.S. troops. Now, I've talked about Russia going into Poland and everything like that. Moscow has supposedly come out and said, or not supposedly, but Moscow has come out and said, oh, we're not going after anything else. We're just going after Ukraine. We don't plan on attacking any other countries. Our actions in Ukraine are aimed at protecting the Russian-speaking population of Donbass. Okay, that is directly the position of Moscow. Now, I want to give you this one. Mind you this, aimed at protecting the Russian-speaking population of Donbass. The percentage of Russian-speaking people in Latvia is 34%. 1 in 3 Latvians is Russian-speaking. Okay, remember, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia were all part of the Soviet Union. What happens there? I know a lot of people disagree with me, and that's totally cool. All right, I prepare for the worst, hope for the best. The U.S. has also come out, Jake Sullivan, everybody's favorite moron in the State Department, has come out and said that if there's one bullet fired, one bomb dropped or whatever, on purpose or by accident on NATO troops, NATO soil or whatever it would be, it will set off Article 5 and there will be a swift and decisive response against Russia. This is how close we are getting, guys. All right, this is how close, Latvia wouldn't be asking for U.S. troops in their country unless they were worried. Okay, we haven't heard anything about Lithuania or Estonia yet. Poland obviously already has troops. Poland has said that they want to put troops on the border, okay? All these Eastern European countries are preparing for the Russians to come through. They know something. It's not just like, hey, we want to spend a whole bunch of money moving a whole bunch of troops up there. This is why I say pay attention to this. Now, on the other side, like I said, there's certainly good news coming out of these peace talks. At least there's the opportunity, that's about as far as we are, for a meeting between heads of state. But I want you to think about something. Let's say Zelensky caves, gives Russia what they want, everything like that. Says, oh, okay, you know what? Stop the fighting right now. You can have Crimea. We'll recognize Lugansk and Donetsk, and that's it. And Putin's going to go, okay, we'll pull out all our troops. Hypothetically, let's just say that happens. Do you honestly think the rest of the world is going to go, oh, okay, here you go. You're back on SWIFT. Facebook's open again. YouTube's open again. McDonald's is open again. We'll start shipping fertilizer and oil to you. Nord Stream 2 is all good again. Does anybody honestly think that's what's going to happen? Okay, those tens of thousands of people that have been killed from both sides aren't miraculously going to go poof and they're back alive. Okay, this isn't a video game where you hit reset and you get a new life and get to start over. It's not like we can take the last 3 weeks and erase them from history. Yes, I know Democrats love to erase history, but that ain't possible, all right? So how does this play out for preppers? We pray to God that everything ends with the fighting, but the groundwork has already been laid and ain't going to be fixed. The U.S. economy is in trouble. The Russian economy is going to tank, okay? You will see hyperinflation there real quick. Mrs. P was looking at stuff yesterday saying that the outlook on Russia right now is that the economy could wind up worse than Venezuela's economy. And you all know what that looks like, okay? Ukraine has been devastated. I mean, you have cities that have been blown up, okay? So their economy's not coming back. What leads to war more often than not? Complete economic disaster. Again, go back to the Weimar Republic. You had wheelbarrows full of money to buy a loaf of bread. When you have the same thing happen in Russia, the same thing's going to happen that happened in Germany in the 1930s. We've got to do something to maintain face to restore our economy. Be very, 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 very watchful about Poland, about the Baltics, even about Finland. Okay, Finland I don't think is as big of a risk yet, but there's an 800 and some odd mile border there too. Okay. Watch what Russia does. When Russia is saying they want to get rid of they want to denazify Ukraine, okay, sure, there's National Socialists in Ukraine, just like there's National Socialists in every other country. We got them here too, all right? It's not like they're the party in control or anything like that. I mean, they're basically an outlier out there that most people don't take seriously. I can't give you facts and figures on how many Nazi sympathizers there are in Ukraine. I mean, everybody keeps talking about Azov and everything like that. Yippee, okay? That's fine. Sure, there's going to be some. I want you all to pay attention to this because as we talked about, before, quietly, there's the talk of women being eligible for the draft. Y'all know that the military, any of the branches, can't meet their recruitment goals. Y'all know what happened with the shot in the arm and how many people got broomed because they wouldn't do it. If there's any sort of war, you can expect anybody of military age, and that's 18 to 34, guys. I believe it's 34. It's either 34 or 37. Are eligible for the draft. Make plans accordingly, especially if you are in that age or if you have family in that age, because they're not going to give you waivers. Oh, I've got a 3-year-old. Sorry, doesn't matter. Make sure you've thought out something like that, because grandma and grandpa all of a sudden may be raising kids if mom and dad get drafted. Okay? It's going to be a little different. It's not like, we had in World War II where it was, oh, you're the last remaining son or anything like that. We're not going to draft you. That's not going to happen this time. Okay? It's any able-bodied person. We've had extensive talks on what it would take to fight on U.S. soil. Like I said yesterday, I don't see it. Okay, it would be very difficult unless something happened first. But guys, Europe is getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And the talk, Poland's in now, all of a sudden Latvia's, a little worried. We're running out of border countries over there. So pay attention to what's going on very closely. I will. Separate the wheat from the chaff, the jawboning from the realistic stuff, but listen to what's being said. watch China, certainly watch Russia, watch Turkey, okay, because those seem to be the big players right now. And if anything happens with Iran, uh, now you got a backdoor. So, happy Monday. I get to see if my peas survived today. Wait till it warms up a little bit so I don't have frozen hay on my peas. And if it's good, we'll see if I wasted a bunch of money and time. We'll see y'all later. Pinball out.